Welcome to Ultimate Orlando Clicks. I am your host Kevin, and this week we are going to get started over in Captain Cook's. This is the Polynesian resort. Now, as you recall, Captain Cook's underwent a refurbishment recently, and they've recently opened this week. They've got the same costumes, much of the same layout. This particular refrigerator, however, is different. Let me go back a slide, and you can see this was a zone where they used to have the Dole Whips, self-serve Dole Whips, and now it's just a dessert and cupcake specifically sort of refrigerator. Now, the menu has changed. We'll get to the menu in a moment. First, we're looking here at what used to be the self-service kiosks. Now, there's a person there to take your order. The cashiers are still on the other side from there, however, for you to ring up your food afterwards and pick up your food after all of that is done. Kind of works with the same sort of buzzer system. And the dining rooms are largely the same as well. This is a view of the larger dining room. You can see they've got some posters set up around the outside. We'll have a look at those after the menus. Several items are returning. The Aloha pork sandwich, for instance, and the pork nachos. The coconut curry meatballs, however, was new, at least as far as I could remember, and those were quite tasty. You'll see those in a few minutes. I'm not sure all of these sandwiches were there before. The lobster roll, the Reuben sandwich, so they're obviously branching out and doing different things. Chicken and waffles, also new. Fish tacos as well was a new item. You can see the kids' meals include a drink and as well as a snack, and this is what the kids' meals look like. Two different screens full of kids' meals for you to choose from, as well as these specialty items which are not otherwise listed on the menu. So let's have a look around those posters around the room. As you can tell, they are all themed to tropical locations, islands really, in the South Pacific. And they've got kind of a vintage travel 1950s perhaps feel to them, kind of recalling Disney attraction posters without being themselves discreetly or specifically Disney themed themselves. So it's just kind of vaguely reminiscent of what you might find in the Tiki Room. Those are the blackened fish tacos. That's obviously a close-up picture. You can see it spread across the tray there. These are what the chicken and waffles look like. Not a huge amount of food, actually, although it was priced perhaps for a snack. And this is the $9 meatballs, which, again, was just a little bit less food than perhaps you'd want, although that sauce, absolutely amazing and delicious. A view from the Polynesian windows to the construction taking place outside. The Nania volcano and the pool out here is closed, and they're redoing that entire area now. Over to the Magic Kingdom for this shot, you can see they're redoing some of the resort launches, kind of holding areas there. Into the Magic Kingdom for this shot of one of the bridges in the hub. And then over to Adventureland, where you can see some more of these kind of hazard fences that are set up around the outside of some of the rooftops. It's starting to spread other parts of the Magic Kingdom. We're here to look at Golden Oak Outpost to look at some other food that is available, namely Waffle Fries. So this is a place that seems to serve as the test ground whenever they've got new items before they go into other parts of the Magic Kingdom, because this is where they had flatbreads first and chicken and waffles first and so forth. And so the waffle fries here come with 4 different various varieties, and this is what they look like all together on one tray. Not a huge plate of food for any of them. So this is the gravy one with cheese curds, and this is the Tex-Mex one. This is the one that's a little bit like Figaro fries, if you remember what those were like from Pinocchio Village House, just missing the cheese, which I guess you could get from the nearby Pecos Bill. And this is the barbecued pork. So we'll look at all of those in turn. There's the gravy. Here is the barbecued pork with coleslaw. That's the one that's the most piled up with food, actually. There's the Tex-Mex one. And this one is the bacon and ranch. I had not previously seen the Rainy Day Cavalcade, so they put on special costumes for this, and they have their own little banner for the rainy day when the parade itself is going to get rained out. And this particular rainy day, they only brought out the Disney characters. They didn't bring the ones from the movies, sort of more like the Fab Five types of characters. Went in just 3 Main Street vehicles, and you can see that they really overstuffed the Omnimover with as many characters as they could, but they're not the more recent movies. Now this is a shot from inside the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. We're about to go outside right here down the big drop. And what I want to call your attention to is this beam, this wooden beam in the far left side over your head really as you're starting your drops. And it is this area right here I want to call your attention to. You see anything there? Well, this is what I'm seeing in there. In fact, someone told me to look for it. It is a hidden Disney character, and that is Oswald, the Lucky Rabbit. Over on the People Mover, you can see a shot of a different side of the hub construction where another bridge is going into place, radiating out from that central spoke. And then we stopped by the Princess Fairytale Hall to see what was happening there, and we saw that now it's Rapunzel and Cinderella always on one side, and Anna and Elsa always on the other side, and so Aurora has no place to go. And so they've put Aurora with her own little custom backdrop here next to City Hall. This is on Main Street. Over to Disney's Animal Kingdom, Russell and Doug's meet and greet area does not have the Doug machines turned on, the translation machines turned on, and this little banner here was new. We're here to look at this. This is a little pole next to the bathrooms on the way over to Dinoland, almost at the Dinoland Bridge, and you can see it's themed to parrots because this is for the parrot show. It's called Winged Encounters. It started this summer, and the macaws fly in first, a couple, and then people will feed them, and then all of a sudden a ton of other macaws show up. It was like almost more than a dozen of them, of different varieties actually, and the handlers come and do a little bit of explanation while they feed them the food. Sometimes the birds come out and walk around amongst you, and sometimes they fight for the food. It's all rather interesting actually while they're talking about it, because it's hard not to take pictures of macaws when they're standing right next to you, and this is the one hyacinth they have. Sometimes the birds even go out flying around with you, and so here's a blurry picture of a bird in flight right over the heads of people coming right at us. And then at the end of the show, the birds take off right over your heads again. You can see people ducking to get out of the way because they come quite low, and then they fly away. They're free roaming within the park, actually. And a couple of the birds decided not to fly back to their enclosure. They just hung out here in Discovery Island for a little while, which I thought was a really neat touch, that people could be in Discovery Island and you see one bird over here and another macaw over here just kind of hanging out, completely fitting the theme of the park. It's Refurb City in Animal Kingdom at the moment. So here it's Tough to Be a Bug, advertised. It's coming back in September 2014. And this is a new location. It's kind of opposite Creature Comforts and First Aid in Discovery Island. I'll bet you this is where the tamarins are going to go, because it's kind of enclosed area here, and that was what their house looked like. The main Tree of Life trails are closed off at the front of the park. Over to Africa, and this is on the way to the Conservation Station train, Rafiki's Planet Watch. You can see a giant amount of space here has been cleared out, and they've got some trees removed, only a couple of trees really remaining. We'll look at that from the train in a few minutes from the other side. While we're on the train, I finally figured out what these W's are for. It's where they blow the whistle. So if you're sitting close to the front next time, you'll know that that's the spot where they blow the whistle. I don't know that this elephant house has previously been named the Tembo House, or that they had elephant designs on the outside. It struck me as new anyway. And then the smoking area on the back side of the Rafiki's Planet Watch train station looked new to my eyes as well. We're here to take in a show. It's a brief little animal show, and it's right on the stage there. You can see they've got some birds, and then they've got this wild pig. And the show is called It All Started with a Mouse, and they've got a little video incorporated, Walt Disney playing in the video in the background and so forth. It's a cute little show where they introduce kids especially to the animals and let them meet and greet them afterwards. Now here's that promised view of the other side of that construction zone into Africa. I'll zoom in a little bit here. You can see they've got some walls built here. So whatever they're building, it's going to require some foundation work. And in fact, they've got some vertical construction going on here with a cinder block. Found this treat bag. It's sort of a grab bag. You've got a carrying handle here and 4 different kinds of treats, or a couple different kinds of treats inside. Over to Disney's Hollywood Studios, where the distribution center at the front for these little signature cards that really didn't previously have a sign saying it was the Olaf Distribution Center. And the frozen pictures have spread just from the Times Guide over to the map as well. And this is what they're handing out at that Olaf Center. Now the Olaf is not just a Olaf face. Olaf has got an umbrella. What that does is makes a lot more surface area for the whole thing. And the whole, you see if you flip it over, the whole thing becomes a fan. And it was been quite hot lately in Walt Disney World. And so you see people not throwing this one away, but keeping it, not necessarily for the signatures, but because it's a functional thing that costs the company just a few cents to hand you as you walk in. And everyone gets a fan to cool off with in the hot sun. Really a brilliant idea. Saw Goofy out in this Hollywood-themed getup. Don't usually see him. American Idol Experience has only got a little while left to stay in the parks. It'll be closing on August 30, a little earlier than anticipated. Probably demand is why. They're down to just 3 regular shows per day. They obviously have space for quite a few more than that. This Monsters Incorporated sign is new. That's the bathrooms in the back area of the park here in your backlot tour. And they've got their own sign right here that leads to their meet and greet area off to the left side. So the meet and greet's been there, it's just that the sign has not. Now we're here to look at the AFI Film Institute Showcase. This was the final day of operation. That was this past Sunday. It is now closed as you're watching this YouTube video. This is, as you may recognize, a set of banners and the exhibit that you would step into when you came off the backlot tour tram ride. And so it was celebrating American films and showing some props from some of the movies. Here's the Cape from the first Superman movie, for instance, showing off lists of the best 100, giving awards, that sort of thing. Largely, it was a set of comfortable walls like this and a few people walking through. It wasn't really that intriguing. And then the showcase shop that came after it had some Hollywood-themed memorabilia, merchandise-type things. They were not really big sellers, but the AFI Institute shop, the showcase shop, have now closed. All right, time for our game. Where in Walt Disney World was this? And as you recall last time, here was the prompt, and I don't think I saw any right answers. We are looking here at New Fantasyland, back when it was Old Fantasyland. So this was taken from the old Ariel's Grotto. In fact, as you're leaving Ariel, so she was to the left here, and walking back towards the area where Dumbo was. So this is now kind of almost where Belle's house is. The Beauty and the Beast stuff is located now. And once upon a time, of course, it was 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. So it was, or next to 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and this was the transition area. All right, on to our next challenge. Where in Walt Disney World was this? Leave your guess in the comments section, and we will see next time if you are correct. That does it for us this week. Thanks as always for dropping by, and we'll catch you next time.